Hello, this is the Obsessed Movie Man doing another podcast with Tag Movie Reviews. How you doing, Tag? Oh no, he has his phone up.
I'm okay. How about yourself?
I was okay until then. And did you know it's almost been 10 years since we did our last podcast? Not 10 years. Sorry.
10 years?
No, I
Wait
just
a
got
minute.
back from a funeral where I was with people who I hadn't seen for 10 years. So I was just thinking of that. So let me correct myself. It has been almost a year since we did that horror podcast. And
Horror podcast.
the one on Halloween, the Halloween videos, the
Oh, yeah,
horror.
yeah. You're right.
Horror.
Horror. Yes.
And I don't
Horror.
remember when we did the Criterion sale. I think that was even
You know what's
later
funny?
than that.
I think it was actually a year from a few weeks ago. I don't even remember. I rewatched the video before we did this and I didn't see the date, but it's been a year because we did it in July. So this is kind of like, I guess, year 2.
Something like that, because we're doing the same thing. We're talking about. Let me move up a little bit. We're doing a talk about Criterion, and this time we're doing a talk about our haul that we did.
Yeah.
And I think you got more movies than me. I got a lot of movies, but you probably got a ton more. Do you
Well,
know?
I feel like this year was a little bit different for me because, for starters, I kind of moved out, and I'm now financially like able to afford some certain things. And right when I moved out, I guess around my birthday was actually this month, so it's like God willing, he's like looking down on me like, Tori, this is your time. Get whatever you need to get. And I got a new shelf, so this new shelf is like my new baby project that I'm trying to work on. So I'm trying to fill it up with everything. So
Everything.
I mean, you can put it in the video if you want. I'll probably send it to you, but it's an entire shelf. 2 shelves that I'm working on right now are Criterion, and then a couple of them are like random movies and VHSs and bad movies. And yeah, that's pretty much my goal now. But this month especially, yeah, a lot of Criterion.
And there are a few more days left, and I got a pretty good paycheck.
Well, a few
So,
days.
as we're recording.
As we're recording,
there's a few days left. So I'm thinking about getting Paths of Glory, because I remember seeing that in freshman year in high school, and I
It's a
really
good
liked
movie.
that. So I was thinking about getting that before the sale ends. But as of now, it's not on this haul list. But I got quite a big, decent haul, and I think for this one, we're just gonna go one at a time until eventually it's probably just gonna be Tori talking
Or
about.
do you want to go through yours and then I'll go through mine?
Yeah, and I was
Because
thinking,
mine is a little bit more extensive and
right,
out there.
and I was thinking about we just talk about either we talk about the movies themselves or we talk about why we pick them.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, some of these that I got, I've either haven't seen them or I just got them because it's like I need them. But there are some of them that I bought that I haven't really seen yet.
Same.
So it's nice to just buy them and then I'll end up watching them because I'll pretty much like gravitate towards watching these more than I'll probably gravitate towards watching like newer films. If I'm
Right.
being honest with you.
Right.
But I mean, do you want to go through yours first before we get to mine? Interesting list.
Sure. I'll in no particular order. These are the films that I picked out. First up was The Incredible Shrinking Man. It's a science fiction film.
That's fairly a new one, actually.
That's why I got it, because
That's like one of the newer ones that come out.
yeah. And by the way, you might hear some clanking. That's because I have the movies with me physically. Tori has his on a list.
Yeah, I didn't bring it with me because I wanted to do it like how we did it last time, but Jack said let's do a podcast, so I didn't bring it. But isn't this someone's famous in this movie? I keep forgetting.
I forgot who it is too, but I remember seeing some clips on old monster movie channels that showed clips of this, and I thought the concept is interesting of a guy who just keeps shrinking until eventually he goes out of existence. It's kind of like Ant-Man before Ant-Man, like as in before he was even invented, or like to the point where he's just shrinking into oblivion to this microverse or whatever.
Yeah, this is interesting because this one was I think 1,100th spine because I remember seeing this, and then I think this was the same time that what was it? Memories of Murder came out, another Bong Joon-ho film in the Criterion, which I know this month that Okja came out.
I want to get that too.
And I like Okja. Not something that I would probably consider in the Criterion, but it's good. For what it's worth, I think Bong should have some stuff in the Criterion. Stuff that actually has never really been released to us. Like Mother is one. Barking Dog Never Bites is another one that's one of his like first films.
Now, do you think... I know you liked it, but didn't love it. It's my favorite film of the year so far. Do you think Everything Everywhere All at Once will get on Criterion?
It's funny that you mentioned that because me and Hunter were actually talking about this because there is I don't think it's a steelbook, but there is a steelbook or something like that at Walmart with all the eyeballs on it. And everybody on TikTok that I've been following has been making it like a big thing. Certain movies that I try to not get, I have a funny feeling they end up in the Criterion Collection, which theoretically I wouldn't like hold my breath on a lot of them, but like with something like Everything Everywhere All at Once, I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, it is like, still, I would wait because usually around that time, they usually get the newer movies after the Oscars. Because this month they also put Driving My Car, and one of the films that I ended up buying was The Worst Person in the World, which both of those were nominated for Oscars. One of them won. But yeah, no, I wouldn't doubt any other way if like Everything Everywhere gets in it, because that is a pretty damn popular movie this year. I liked it. I didn't love it like everybody else, but there is some things about it that I definitely enjoyed, and I would like to see like some crazy behind the scenes on that movie.
So would I, and I think...
Did you know that there was only 6 people that did the special effects for it?
Really?
Yeah, it was such a tiny group. Like, it's insane. Like, there is some stuff that the Daniels have done. Sorry, sidetrack, but like it's very interesting to like learn about this movie, especially. But yeah, let's keep going. So, The Incredible Shrinking Man, definitely ahead of its time, I would say.
And just forewarn, none of these films I've seen.
You've never seen The Shrinking Man?
I've never seen it. A lot of the Criterion films I've never seen, and I watch movies at a slower pace than most people, which is one of the reasons why I'm slower at reviews, although I do have an ever-growing list of things to review. 3 of my reviews that I still haven't gotten done are The Rocketeer, House, and...
House! Which I'm wearing a shirt while we're...
and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and yes, he has the shirt on. But I do watch movies, just I'm slower than most people, and I'm going to the movies tomorrow. I'm forcing myself out.
What are you seeing tomorrow?
Marcel the Show.
Oh, you are seeing Marcel.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm excited. I'm going to hopefully write a review for that.
It's very good.
You can hear the dog. We got a new dog, and she's probably being picked up on the mic.
Whatever.
But I'm trying to do that too. Just sidetrack again. I'm writing reviews and recording reviews for stuff I see in the theaters now.
See, lucky you, because I'm kind of like lost track of doing movie reviews and on my channel. I think the last thing I did was with Hunter. We did the Buzz Lightyear video game before the movie, and I kind of want to start going back into reviewing that movie, because that movie I have a lot to say about Lightyear. But Marcel,
I still haven't seen Lightyear.
I wouldn't be surprised if Marcel gets in the Criterion. That is a very, very indie art housey comedy that
I think oddly enough, I saw the trailer for it in front of Everything Everywhere All at Once, because it's A24, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And A24 has been is coming in a lot of Criterions. Like, I think the first one to come out was, I believe, Uncut Gems.
Right.
And I mean, I got Uncut Gems, but we don't have to talk about that one.
But
let's keep going.
So Incredible Shrinking Man, I think that's all we really need to say.
It's an Incredible Shrinking Man.
Yeah, it's an Incredible Shrinking Man. The next film I got was The Great Escape.
Hey, that's a classic.
With Steve McQueen, because I watched a documentary because it's a true story, and I watched the documentary on the escape from the Nazi prison, and I realized, oh my gosh, I know this. This is the Great Escape story. The that thing. So I know what that's from, at least. I know
the theme song
already, because I know the real story. I know Steve McQueen dies. I'm assuming Steve McQueen plays the the person who instigated the.
Yeah.
Okay, so he does.
Wait, so you've never seen this one?
I've never seen none of these.
This one is really good.
Actually, that's not true. I actually have seen one of these. So
okay,
I'm
cool.
coming up.
And these are the ones that you have.
I've seen. Actually, wait. I've seen.
Wait, did you get these recently? Is that?
Yeah, I got these during the Criterion. These are all I got during the Criterion sale.
Okay.
And
The Great
actually,
Escape...
that's a lie. 2 of these I have seen.
Okay, The Great Escape is actually a really good film, and it definitely deserves to be on here for a reason. It's definitely something that was never done back in the 1960s, I believe.
Still 60s.
63? Oh, yeah, 63.
Because it's Hugh McQueen, so...
Yeah, and it was like a big movie at the time. I mean, I think it's like almost... Yeah, it says right here, almost 3 hours long. It's almost a 3-hour-long movie about a bunch of people in a concentration camp trying to escape. It's literally the equivalent of Chicken Run. If you ever seen Chicken Run. I think that's
what Chicken Run is based off of, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good film. I like the parody that they do in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where instead of Steve McQueen, it's Leonardo DiCaprio that he was supposed to get the role.
Oh, yeah.
And
I forgot about that.
Yeah. This is a good movie. I would highly recommend that one for sure.
The next one I actually have seen, is Some Like It Hot. It was the first Marilyn Monroe film that I saw.
I actually need to talk to you about this because the other day, I know one of them in there. I know one of your picks is going to be in there. We'll talk about that soon. But me and my dad, we were watching a movie, and then we were like, what is the best comedy of all time? Like the top 100 AFI like best comedies. And crazy enough, this is number 1.
Really?
Yeah. Like, and I'm shocked because I think there's like 3 other ones that were like Mel Brooks. One of them that I'm sure you're going to talk about is in there.
Yeah, it is.
And this is the number 1 comedy of all time.
See, I'm not a comedy guy, really. Especially modern day comedies, I don't like. Like, when the joke is literally the F-bomb, I find that lazy. And
sometimes it's funny.
I guess it's just not for me. So I think aside from romance films, I'm saying the dog. The comedy genre is the lowest of the movies that I have on my shelf aside from romance. And even then, most of the romance all the comedy films I have are pretty much Mel Brooks. But Some Like It Hot I saw on my favorite channel, Turner Classic Movies. I love that channel. I love it when they do the re-releases. And it was the first Marilyn Monroe film I saw, and it is hysterical. It's about 2 guys who are evading criminals, and they go... Well, it's been a while since I've seen it. They go on like a tour with Marilyn Monroe and some other people, and they're disguised as women.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
And they both have a crush on Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It's definitely ahead of its time, especially with 2 dudes dressing up as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what year was this?
19. It was 30s or 40s.
1959.
Okay.
Yeah, it says 1959, and it's a 2-hour comedy. I think Billy Wilder did this. Yeah, Billy Wilder, dude. This movie is literally it's like one of the best comedies of all time, and it's one with one of the best directors of all time because I think Billy Wilder did Bringing Up Baby.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm trying to think of, or he did It Happened One Night.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it might be that. That's on Criterion. That deserves.
Because that was revolutionary for a few reasons. One of which is that it partially inspired Bugs Bunny with what's his name?
Oh, I'm not
with
talking
the carrot.
About that. I'm talking about that, but also that's like one of the first films to win 5 Academy
Oh no,
Awards.
I know that. I always like to bring up the Bugs Bunny thing.
Yeah, because it's only for a brief second.
Yeah,
it's like
because he chews a carrot.
He's like, he doesn't do but he just chews on the carrot like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah,
and they just sit on a bench. Anyways, let's keep moving on. What
Pan's Labyrinth, which I have not seen.
Ooh, wait a minute. You actually got Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth.
I want to get... There's a box set with all 3 of his films. So it's like his Spanish horror trilogy. It goes Kronos, Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth. The box set is completely out of stock or out of print, but now I have to get all 3 of those. I really want to get the out of print box first before I could try getting just all 3 of them.
Right.
I feel like all 3 of them, it's fine, but then they all get separated because I normally do it in spines. So, yeah, Pan's Labyrinth. That is a magical movie.
I'm a big fantasy person. This is like fantasy horror, from what I understand. This
Have you
is
not
one
seen
of,
it?
I haven't seen Pan's. The next one that I'm going to talk about, I have seen, but
Okay.
Pan's Labyrinth, that's like his most famous one, isn't it?
Well, besides the fish movie.
Oh yeah, Shape of Water.
But yeah, Pan's Labyrinth definitely revolutionized like creatures and fantasies and stuff. And Del Toro has always been like on my radar for like a long time since that movie.
Dude, I really wish they just sat him down and said, "Do what you want, make a haunted mansion movie."
He made Crimson Peak. That's all that matters.
I know that's.
I don't think Disney wanted to do anything.
I know they
with him
didn't,
anyways.
but it's because he is a big fan. Have you seen his room where he has a whole room
Oh
dedicated
yeah,
to the
his whole
haunted mansion?
tour, his whole house tour.
Oh,
yeah.
but he has a whole room dedicated to the haunted mansion.
Yeah. No, I've seen it. It's hilarious.
And it just kills me that I know he made Crimson Peak. That's fine. I mean, it's a great movie. I'm just saying I would love to see what his
I
vision of the
actually
haunted
got
mansion
that.
would have been.
I got Crimson Peak recently on Arrow Video, so they did a 4K release of it. By the time we're recording this, there's a Camp Arrow, so it's like 50% off on a lot of them.
I just started getting into Arrow. I got the American Werewolf in London collection. It has like a great cover, Blu-ray, booklet, all that stuff.
Oh, see, that's a little too much for me. I just usually just get the thing and that's it. But you went all out.
I love the bonus features, all the stuff that
that's
support
great.
physical media. That's the lesson.
Support good physical media.
Well, and that's
because
the main
physical
thing.
media we need to have a bunch of Blu-rays with a bunch of extra features, like because recently a lot of them just suck.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm a Marvel shill, but they suck with their bonus features.
I could agree with that.
Yeah, that's one thing you and I can agree with on Marvel stuff. Because they like to keep everything so damn secret, and I hate that they can't do a bonus features. They can barely do deleted scenes. And as someone who likes to understand how movies are made and stuff, I think the only one I was somewhat impressed with was Spider-Man No Way Home with their behind the scenes, but even then I would kill for some other stuff.
Exactly.
But anyway,
let's move on.
the other one, this one I have seen. This is a Val Newton film. Val Newton produced a lot of kind of low budget horror films. It's Cat People.
Okay, Cat People.
Which John Carpenter, I think it's John Carpenter, famously does not like Val Newton or Val Luton.
Val Newton.
And it's about a woman who is fearful that basically she's fearful if she has intercourse with a man, she's going to turn to a giant cat and kill him.
Whoa! No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
That's basically it. And it's like a psychological film. Is she really a cat person, or is it just a cat, or is it just her stalking people? And they have kind of like the first jump scare where there's a woman walking away from what she thinks is a cat, and you hear what you think is a cat roaring, but it's really just the bus coming.
Yeah, that is one of the most famous horror scenes in this movie. And in all of horror history.
That's where it comes from. And there's a whole documentary on Val Luton. Documentary. I like Val Luton's some of Val Luton's stuff. My favorite Val Luton film is not on Criterion, but I got it on Shout Factory, which is another one I really like. It was The Body Snatcher, not to be confused with Invasion of the Body Snatchers or any of those remakes. It's a Boris Karloff film, which I think is his best role, even over the Frankenstein monster. But Cat People, I really like it. It's also an RKO film. RKO is the people that did King Kong. And there's not really a lot more to say. It's really good. It's important for film. Despite what John Carpenter says, Val Luton is influential to horror.
I am, go
yeah,
ahead.
You don't have here's what you have to talk. This is what you have a lot to say because you are the one who inspired me to get this. It's a mad, 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 mad world.
Yep, and I got this recently for my birthday. Shout out to Hunter, who gave it to me. And this is the one that I was telling you that me and my dad were watching, and we were talking about comedies. This is at number 40.
Really?
At number 40 is a mad. This should be higher.
I've heard so many people rave about this movie.
Like, recently I rewatched this. This movie is utterly insane.
Would you put it over Some Like It Hot?
No. I mean, I don't really like Some Like It Hot that much, but there is an importance to Some Like It Hot versus It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. This was a big movie at the time. I think this was like the equivalent of filming on an IMAX screen, an IMAX camera for the first time, because it was the first film to use Panavision. And that was big, 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 big at the time. I think your computer locked. But that movie was really, really big, as in terms of like, you know, things to have come out. But like, I really think this film needs to be rewatched. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And two fun trivia notes. First off, for those of you who watch Angry Video Game Nerd, this is the favorite film of James Rolfe. Second of all, this is the last film that Willis O'Brien worked on. He, for those who don't know, is the stop motion animator for King Kong. He did something on what was it? The stair scene?
It's super brief. It's like so. If spoilers, if you haven't seen this, they have to find money that a dead guy told them that it's buried under a big W. They end up finding the money, and what happens is the cop ends up taking it away, and they're like, "Hey, he's stealing our money!" So they go and they chase it, and then they climb up this building, and then a fire department comes, and because the whole building's about to explode by a detonation crew, and the entire like cast get on the fire thing, and they're like, "Yo, one at a time. Oh no, you can't do it." And the whole entire stop motion is them going back and forth just on this thing. It spins around and they start flying everywhere. But yeah, that is the one stop motion scene in this movie. So
would you say it's out of place?
No, it's hilarious. It's really hilarious. Like, I think it's the most hilarious thing I've seen on film. But yeah, I would highly recommend anyone to watch that, especially, you know, in terms of like comedies. It's definitely should be like preached as a comedy, like best comedy of all time.
And then we're down to the last two that I got this month. This one I have very little to say with. I've heard of it, and it's like, again, fantasy, and I like fantasy. It's called Time Bandits.
Oh shit!
You've heard of this?
Yes, I have. It's Terry Gilliam.
Yep.
It's
Monty Python.
What?
Isn't it Monty Python?
Well, yeah, Monty Python. But Terry Gilliam did a lot of other things. He's done 12 Monkeys. He's helped work. I think he helped. I forget the other guy, but he's worked on 12 Monkeys, Brazil. Recently, he's done the new it's like some Don Quixote film. He's also done Jabberwocky, which is on Criterion as well.
Yes, it is.
And this. I'm not big on it, but it is a really bizarre film. Like, this is like one of those films where you watch it and you understand, like, Terry Gilliam is a master at his at his craft, because this is such a weird film. He's also done Fear and Loathing. Fear and Loathing's also on Criterion.
Fear and Loathing Las Vegas?
Yep. That is a great film. I recommend any Terry Gilliam film. That one's more of a kid-friendly one. Mm-hmm. It's definitely like a kid-friendly, like, swashbuckling adventure, but it is, like, very bizarre.
And I like the bizarre.
Yep.
And the last one I got, Eat Your Heart Out, James Cameron. It's called A Night to Remember. It's another Titanic film.
I have not seen that.
This one, actually, some of the James Cameron images, I believe, come from this.
Huh.
Or some of the stuff. It's directed by Ward Baker.
Oh.
And,
okay.
I want to see another Titanic film, because I think the whole history of the Titanic is fast. I mean, no shit. It's one of the most
no ship,
if you will. I used to be obsessed with the Titanic when I was a kid. I made my own documentary about the Titanic when I was little. It sucked, but I was just interested in the Titanic, and I'm intrigued to see not only another film about the Titanic, but something that predates James Cameron's. I don't think we'll ever get. Well, actually, that's not true. There was literally a film called Titanic 2.
Titanic 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
That one's that's an interesting.
But, I want to see. Almost all of these I haven't seen, like I said, but I'm hopefully going to check them out soon. Tori, you're up. I'm sure you will not fail to impress.
I always fail to impress, though. That's my issue. Oh, man. Okay. So, yeah, I'm on the floor recording this, so I'm kind of like having some like ups and down issues. But let me tell you, not only did I do the haul, But for my birthday, I actually got a gift card to the Criterion store.
Oh no.
So I ended up using it on certain things, and we'll get to that. But one of the films that I got, wasn't part of the haul. I'm just pretty much looking at my list of the stuff that I ended up getting this month. And one of those films is Sallow.
Ah.
Yeah.
Why?
A couple of reasons. I would like to know the behind the scenes of it because the behind the scenes are more fascinating than the film itself. If you didn't know, the director died a week before the film got released. He got shot and ran over in the streets of Italy where he was born. And the film was heavily criticized because of that. Because they thought that it was like more of like a hate crime that he made this film. Again, the film itself is one thing, but the behind the scenes is another, and I like to know more about it. That's why I got it. Not to be a weirdo or anything, but
Too late.
Too late. I guess I already failed that department. Another film that I'm scrolling through right now is where is it? I got 8.5. Fellini. It's a definite bizarre. Not a bizarre. It's not bizarre. It's think of so he's a director who's gonna make a film, and it blends realism and surreal together. It's a black and white Italian film. It's one of Fellini's best films, I would say, and it's definitely influential to a certain degree. It's one of David Lynch's favorite films of all time.
Oh, that's why you got it.
Well, we'll get to David in a bit, but there is it's a definite interesting film, and I watched it back a couple years ago, and it's very good. There's a lot of things that you'll notice between me and Jack that we have different tastes, and we've established that in the last video. But
yeah.
Interesting enough, I ended up getting 2 Wes Anderson films.
Oh, what'd you get?
The first one I got is the Royal Tenenbaums.
I've not heard of that one.
That one is I watched that actually recently this year. I've been going through a director, trying to watch some certain directors' films in their filmography. And one of them was Wes Anderson, and I finished all of his films. And by far his best film is Royal Tenenbaums. Y'all can fight me on it. Y'all could beat me up on it. I don't care. Royal Tenenbaums is his best fucking film ever. Gwyneth Paltrow is absolutely gorgeous and phenomenal.
That's
and
unrelated to the movie. You're just saying that in general. Gwyneth Paltrow. So.
No. She is very good in this film. Luke Wilson is also very good. Ben Stiller is also very good in this movie. Everyone is good in this movie. For real. I really like the story. I really like the cinematography. It's Wes Anderson being right in the middle between weird and real. And it would feel like a true story. It would feel as if it was a real story. A real relatable story about dysfunctional families. And I 100% would recommend that film to anyone. Another film that I ended up getting in the list, if I keep scrolling here, Naked by Mike Leigh. He has been one of my favorite British kitchen sink directors. If you don't know what a kitchen sink film is, it's pretty much a low budget British film. One of my favorites from him is High Hopes, which I hope to God it gets in the Criterion Collection eventually. But everybody has been talking about Naked.
I can't imagine why.
From what I've been told, it's a very brutal and honest film. And a lot of the kitchen sink films are always like that. They're always brutally honest and brutally true. Grounded in realism. Another person that a lot of people talk about, I'm blanking out on this guy too. Oh man. If anybody knows, I think he did one. Oh my God, I can't even remember. I did a whole semester with kitchen sink directors, and it was Mike Lane and someone else. Ken Loach. Ken Loach is the other one. Everybody talks about those two being the prime example of it. I like Mike Lane a little better because he's kind of got a humor side. Anyways, if I keep scrolling, I'm going by spine order, by the way.
Oh, okay. You're going by the numeral order.
I'm not going by like order of how I got it or where I got it, but the Darjeeling Limited, another Wes Anderson film. This is a great film. It's probably my second favorite Wes Anderson film. About three brothers going on a journey through India, and they find themselves, as well as they're trying to find their mother, which the mother abandoned them at a young age. I really enjoyed this film. It's a funny movie, but it's also got a lot of heart, and it's a great film about brothers, just brothers going on a journey together. One of them is like, they put them all together after they kind of like disappeared after a while, and they brought them all back. Darjeeling Limited, very, very good film. Mad World we already talked about that.
Wait, what's that one? I haven't heard about Mad World.
It's a Mad World.
It's a Mad World?
You've never heard of It's a Mad World?
No, it sounds like we talked about it a while ago, but I can't be... No,
well, it's a Mad World. That's
my bad attempt at humor.
Now, let's talk about this guy, because he's been pretty on the nose for certain people. Mr. Lars von Trier. I don't really like a lot of his films. He's been one that I've been trying to, watch all of his films. But recently, I just do not like his films.
Why don't you?
A lot of things. He's kind of pretentious. He's kind of weird. But I ended up getting one of his films because I really think that this might be his best film. It's called Breaking the Waves. It's fucking devastating, but it's really good. About a housewife whose husband ends up becoming paralyzed, and in the midst of it, the husband pretty much tells her, like, you can do whatever you want. Don't hold me back. Don't let me hold you back. And it's a very much a religious undertone film. But it's also about like sexual depression, and deprived of not being able to feel love. And this film actually shocked me because if anybody knows Lars von Trier, this man is nutso. I don't want to talk about Antichrist, but Antichrist is definitely something that's on the Criterion Collection that I would never watch Antichrist. It's a wonderful film. It's actually one of my friend's favorite film. Shout out to my first AD. He loves Lars von Trier, but Breaking the Waves is definitely one of my favorite films by him, shockingly. And speaking of controversial directors, two films I got from this guy. I told this to Hunter. He's my second favorite David, Mr. David Cronenberg.
Okay, here we go.
I got one called The Brood.
I've heard of it.
Which is a very interesting film about a bunch of deformed children and a mother with a weird fucking thing attached to her stomach. I don't want to go too much into it, but it is a bizarre film. We'll get to his other film later. And I got Michael Haneke's Piano Teacher. I don't want to talk about this too much because it does get into some spoiler territory. But I would highly recommend it. It's probably one of my favorite films. If anybody doesn't know Michael Haneke, he did Funny Games, which is a very, very weird home invasion film. He also did Code Unknown, which is on Criterion as well. Both are fantastic, but The Piano Teacher is a brutal film. The main actress, Isabella Harper, phenomenal. She's phenomenal. Wonderful actress. Highly recommend it. Oh man, my throat is getting parched. Man, because I'm just pretty much doing the talking. You're just sitting there.
I don't mean to be the silent type. It's just I don't have much to add because I haven't seen almost any of these. Actually, no, I haven't seen any of these films. So I'm just listening. You keep going, man. You're good.
Okay, cool. Next is Diamonds of the Night. Diamonds of the Night. I've been a huge fan of Criterion because that they do a lot of international films, and one of those is Czechoslovakian films, and I have a lot of the Czechoslovakian films, and they're phenomenal. I love Czech films. Their editing is phenomenal. Their sound design is amazing. And Diamonds of the Night is definitely one of those films. It's set in World War II, but think of Un Char de Lure, or if you remember, do you remember Un Char de Lure? The one, the oh my god, the Salvador Dali one, where it's the whole famous eyeball cutting scene.
Oh, that.
Yeah, so there.
Oh my god.
Think of that, but set in World War II. It's very surreal, but it's also very minimalist, and it's only true way of watching it is visually and sound, which is that's what all film is. But this is definitely one that has very little dialogue, but it's heavily edited to be a weird film. But it's a phenomenal film, I would say. And here's the other David Cronenberg film, Crash. Have you heard of Crash, Jack?
I've heard of Crash, but I don't know anything about Crash.
Well, Crash kind of inspired a little film last year that it was on my top 3, actually. Titane.
Oh, yeah.
Titan, or otherwise as titanium in French. But Crash is a much interesting take on. You know what? I'm just gonna go with that. It's an interesting film. I don't want to keep going into that because then we would go into like some crazy territory. But Crash is an interesting film. Definitely not the best Cronenberg, but I also kind of wanted it because I wanted to finish up his filmography in my collection. So, right. Which surprisingly enough, he doesn't have Shivers or Rabies on Criterion, but whatever. The other film I got. So we're kind of getting into the newer stuff. The much newer ones. So the other one I got is a Japanese film called Afterlife. I have not seen it, but it's considered like one of the best Japanese films of all time. Mainly because it helped inspire a little film called 9 Days last year. 9 Days was, oh my god, phenomenal. Winston Duke, I think.
Oh yeah, I know him.
He's in the movie 9 Days, and it's pretty much the equivalent of if you have 7 days left in this afterlife, what would you do with it? It's pretty much people being in limbo, and they pretty much talk about like what's it like, what's the meaning of life, and all that. And that's what I've heard. Afterlife. So Afterlife is one of those films I have not yet seen. I got it mainly because of the fact that it's a 9 Days movie or clone. I don't want to say clone because Afterlife could have been the first one. But speaking of Afterlife, and speaking of, unfortunately, this event that you kind of went to, there's a newer film that came out called The Funeral.
Oh.
Which, funny enough, it is a comedy. Because it is from Juzo Itami. Juzo Itami did Tempopo, which is also on Criterion.
And you brought about that last
highly recommend it. It's a wonderful film. And The Funeral, I wanted to get it because I love that director and I wanted to see more of his work. It's good. It's a very good movie. I would definitely recommend that one. It's not as funny or as comedic as Tempopo. It's not as energetic as Tempopo, but I mean, with a name like The Funeral, it makes sense. But yeah, The Funeral, highly recommend it. Definitely worth checking out. And Criterion, if you're listening to this, put more of his work out. I've been hearing a lot about Supermarket Woman. That's one of his more popular movies. I have not seen that. Definitely check it out. Now we're gonna get into some. I got this, and you're gonna laugh at me. I'm not a big John Waters fan. First off,
really, you aren't.
I've seen a couple of his films.
For some reason, I figured you would have been.
Mainly Hairspray, and Multiple Maniacs. Multiple Maniacs is definitely not my favorite Criterion film ever. If you follow me on Letterboxd, I have a whole entire like Criterion list that I've seen all the films from the Criterion Collection, and Multiple Maniacs is dead bottom. It's probably one of the worst Criterion films I've seen, mainly because it's nothing more than just schlock. And recently, they decided to release another John Waters film, which I've been actually looking forward to seeing because I've heard lots of things about it. And the film that I ended up getting was called Pink Flamingos.
Okay, here I had a feeling that it was Pink Flamingos because that's like the only John Waters film I know. But I think I remember you talking about this actually.
I didn't talk about it, but actually I found out about Pink Flamingos through Red Letter Media. They did a review on it, and I've seen the poster of it where it's some big woman with a gun, and she's got like eyebrows up to like the forehead, and I didn't know anything about it. And Red Letter Media talked about it, and it really interested me because there was nothing like it. And I bought it, and immediately the day I bought it, I watched it. Jack, interesting film. That's all I gotta say.
I can imagine.
I personally think it's definitely up there with those midnight movies like Eraserhead, The Holy Mountain, which I've talked about in the past. But oh my god, I think it's probably my favorite John Waters film that I've seen because mainly the dialogue is so freaking hilarious. Like there's some shit in this film that is like off the wall. Mainly because the film I later found out is rated X.
Oh, jeez.
Which makes a lot of sense if you've seen the film. There is a scene, involving a gaping butthole. I won't get too much into that, but there's a lot of really disturbing stuff. But the dialogue in this film is so freaking witty and so full of just pure nonsense that there's literally a line. I think it's the funniest fucking line in the film, and I laughed so hard. They're about to execute this family, or this couple, and the reporters are there, and the reporters are like looking at Diva like, so wait, are we really here to film this or to report this? And Diva, the main character that's on the poster, goes, well, Mr. Reporter, I didn't have you come all this way to jerk off. It's like, what? There's so much.
Could you call it a bad movie?
No. I think what's more interesting is the way that this film was made. It's super low budget, obviously. The film takes place in like a few locations. And what's so fucking interesting is that there's a behind the scenes feature on this thing where John Waters, this film is almost 50 years old, by the way. After 50 years, John Waters goes back to those locations, and there's people living in those houses. And John Waters tells them everything that they did in that house. And I'm not kidding. The shit that he says to these people are just hilarious. It's so freaking hilarious. That's why mainly because I wanted to see this film, but I also kind of like a lot of behind the scenes stuff of how certain films get made. How the hell did this film get made? I don't know. But it is one of those like cult classic midnight films that are like, it's up there for a reason. It's something to behold. It's one of those films you have to get drunk with your friends and just watch it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's so bad it's good, because there is some good moments, and there are some moments that I'm just like, get rid of it. But yeah, I got Pink Flamingos, and I think it's a very interesting film. Recommending it, it's tough. But
I'm not sure if that's for me.
It's a tough sale. That's all I got. It's a tough sale to like get someone to actually watch this film, because
It's a tough pitch.
It's a tough pitch. I mean, I could say that the film is about a bunch of trailer park trash, and they literally are like trying to. They have a rival like gang that they're trying to kill, and that's pretty much it. But it's there's a lot of other things that you have to really. Anyways, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going.
This one is another fairly new film. I got The Worst Person in the World. I've heard a lot of interesting.
My life
things
story.
Well, you're talking about my life story.
Oh,
I think everybody can
maybe it's
relate
both
to
of-
the
yeah.
title. Everyone could relate to it.
Probably, most likely.
Yeah, but I've heard of many things about this film. Whether that be it got snubbed at the Oscars to Drive My Car, which, sure. I mean, I haven't seen this film yet, but I got it. I got it for a reason, and I'll watch it eventually. But The Worst Person in the World, I've got that recently. I've heard nothing but great things. And here's the last two that I got. These are more along the lines of pre-orders. Because I told you in the beginning that I got a $50, not $50, I got like a $150 gift card. So I got a few things off the channel, or not the channel, the site.
You bought the channel
I bought
itself.
the channel. It's mine now.
I'm going to put Super Buddies on Criterion.
Hell yeah. If you guys know that inside joke, but yeah. Anyways, the two pre-orders that I got, one of which is actually going to come out, I think by the time you'll have this out, it'll be August, which is when I will get Sallow, but I'll also get this film coming in the mail, which is Daddy Longlegs. It's a Safdie brothers film, the people who did Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, Uncut Jams, according to Julia Fox. I can't even look at that film anymore the same because of her. Thanks. Anyways, I've been wanting to watch this. This is I think their first feature-length debut. And I really enjoy the Safdie brothers. I love Good Times. Uncut Gems is really good. And I've seen Heaven Knows What, which should be on Criterion. But Daddy Longlegs, I got it. The cover is interesting because the cover looks like a cartoon. It's like literally like if they took a picture of the TV while a cartoon was on and they plastered it on a Criterion. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see when it comes out. And this one I am beyond excited for because I knew that one day we will get this. And I'm going to hype it up a little bit beforehand before I give you the title. This one recently got a release date. And it goes without saying that it's probably with one of my favorite directors of all time. It's one interesting film, which I've seen already. And it's not his most bizarre film. It is an interesting look, a neo-noir, but it is a very good film. And not to mention the fact that Rammstein, if you know who Rammstein is. You don't know who Rammstein is?
I don't know who
Okay. Rammstein is literally like, they go, Rammstein. They're like a German rock band.
Okay.
But they helped with putting some music into this film. And that little film is called Lost Highway. It is a David Lynch film.
Of course it is.
Yeah, that's all I had to say. It's a David
Lynch film.
If it's a David Lynch film, I'm there. I have all of his films on Criterion. Next is hopefully Inland Empire, and I think that's it. I think everything else is on there.
Would you say that almost all of David Lynch's films are on Criterion? Or is there some that
Not
aren't?
all of them. Dune's not on there.
Well, yeah.
Dune is not there. Straight Story's not there. There's been rumors that Inland Empire might be coming, but the only problem with that is that film is literally filmed on like a camcorder, and to blow it up on like a 4K will look like crap. It's like taking your old VHS tape and blowing it up in 8K.
Oh, jeez.
It just will look awful. Grainy, very horrible. But anyways, Lost Highway.
And that's kind of all we have for our Criterion video for this year. Unless, do we know when the other date for the sale is? They do it twice a year, don't they?
From what I know, October will be a flash sale on the website. So there'll be like a 24-hour flash sale on Criterion, and then there'll be one more, I would say in November or December. Or maybe it's in October. Who knows? We'll see. It'll be around towards the end of the year. They usually do them more towards the end of the year anyway. So.
I might go get Path of Glory.
Definitely.
That's a good film.
Definitely. It's probably my favorite Kubrick films, for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, I wish Clockwork Orange was on Criterion, but...
They're not going to put it on
there. They're not going to put it on there, unfortunately. There's a lot of distribution things, and I mean, Path of Glory is definitely up there. And
also, even though I know I have it on Blu-ray, I wouldn't mind getting Princess Bride just for Criterion, just because I love that movie, and I would love to have it on... It's funny, I had it on DVD, now I have it on Blu-ray. That'd be funny if I upgraded it to Criterion next.
So, let me ask you this. What is something that you're looking forward to getting? How about that? We could talk about that for like a few seconds here.
I don't know if they've done it. They probably have. I'm not sure. I would love it if they put King Kong on Criterion.
Yeah, that's I
know there's a whole
very
rights.
Iffy.
There's a lot of rights issues with who owns the rights to King Kong, but I think that film, I might get flack for this as a Godzilla fan. King Kong is probably more influential than Godzilla. Mm-hmm. I depending on who you talk to, you might get. It's debatable, but I think King Kong deserves to be on Criterion. Is there something you want to be? You brought up some films that you want on Criterion.
Yeah, there might be mostly a lot of like some of the A24 films should be on there. Some of the Neon stuff. Titan needs to be somewhere.
I also want that. Just sorry to cut you off. I also want the Heisei. So they put the Showa Godzilla films on Criterion. I want the Heisei ones next. Do it, you cowards.
I don't think that they'll do that.
Probably not.
Well, those ones are fairly new.
Yeah.
Ish. But it's tough, and a lot of the newer stuff, like there's like a whole Reddit page of like people want on the Criterion, some of which are just joking ones like B Movie and like Shrek and all that fun stuff. But Titan,
Morbius.
What?
Morbius.
God no.
Criterion. It's Morbin time.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be on there eventually. But I mean, for me, Titan. I really think Titan deserves it. Raw, which is Julia, the girl who did Titan, the director. That's her first film. Raw needs to be on there. Some of Gaspar Noé's film. Mm-hmm. Climax needs to be in there. There's a lot. I mean, the thing is, you could go on and on, but at the end of the day, it really isn't up to us. So.
Unfortunately not. We should be in charge of Criterion.
Yeah, that'll go well.
But that's pretty much all we have. Until we own Criterion, I am your host, the Obsessed Movie Man. Thank you for joining me, Tag, on this excursion into the world of Criterion.
We'll have to do this next year and see how much more we get.
I love how originally, before we end off, that this podcast format, the first thing we were going to do was... Actually, let's just cut that off.
No. What were we going to say?
The original idea for this, we were going to actually film inside Barnes & Noble getting. And then they told us to stop filming.
No, well, funny thing is, like, I've seen a lot of people go into Barnes & Noble and filming, so, like...
It was just that one lady who said no.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. I mean, it depends on where you're going. I mean, I guess, but like, I've filmed inside places before.
You filmed inside Book Off, I remember.
Yeah. So why can't we film over in Barnes and Noble? Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it, Barnes and Noble.
Support people who like film and your books.
Well, they don't do a good job over in that area anyway. I'm sorry. They kind of, that whole entire area is nothing more than just anime, music, and manga, music, movies, Criterion.
Yeah, the people there aren't the best.
Yeah,
no offense if you're listening. And
if you worked at a Barnes and Noble, I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't know how to end it.
Now, before we offend anyone, let's end it here.
Anyways, this is your host, Obsessed Movie Man,
and the special guest, Tag Movie Reviews,
signing out.
Ka-chow.
Bazinga.